Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Believers Club. Last week we did an episode. It was our new year, first episode of the year, and we're so happy that you're back. Today, Serena and we're going to talk about something that I think we really need to go into 2021 with this attitude, and it's about the power of positivity. We
Yeah.
have so much to say about this, so we're going to jam on that. If you didn't know, my name is Harj Tier, and I'm a life coach, and
And I'm Serena. I'm a makeup artist.
we decided to come together and start talking about things that, one, we were experiencing throughout our journey, and two, things that we've learned and we felt like other people could relate to. So we just wanted to create that community.
Yeah, we wanted to just kind of share our experiences and hopefully get you guys to connect to or even find help in that. Because I think we, as humans, we learn from each other. We learn
Yeah.
habits, we learn from our environment, we learn everything from the people around us in our life and even outside. So today we just wanted to talk about positive thinking and how positivity is probably one of the things that you definitely need in life. But right before we press record, we said that there's a difference between positive thinking and having positive thoughts. And I
Yeah.
think I'm gonna let Harj get into it because she mentioned that, and I was like, yeah, that's very true.
Yeah, it's like the power of positivity is, first of all, really powerful. But second, I think that positivity is something that gets misunderstood sometimes, because when you talk about positivity, oftentimes people think that they take it to the extreme where they just put positivity on everything, and that can actually be unhealthy on your psyche and on your mental health. Because at the end of the day, let's be honest, life happens, right? Positive things happen, shitty things happen. And we have to understand that there's balance between the two. So when something, let's say, detrimental happens in our life, and we just throw positivity on it, like positive thinking, that can sometimes actually have us bypass the things that we need to deal with, right? And for us to be genuinely positive and truly happy, we have to accept the negativity, but we also have to remember that where we want to come back to is always positive thoughts. And the difference between positive thinking and positive thoughts, you might think that there isn't much of a difference, but there is. In my opinion, positive thinking is something where something happens and like your knee-jerk reaction without processing what's in front of you is just throwing out some positive thinking and saying, God bless, and everything's going to be okay, and don't worry, and all those sort of things, which aren't actually helpful. But positive thoughts is what we do internally, that we tell ourselves, right? Positive affirmations, ways that we view ourselves, self-love, all those things that are much deeper than the surface, those tend to then become our thoughts,
Yeah. And
right?
I think positive thinking starts from if you have positive thoughts or not. Because
Mm-hmm.
if you don't have positive thoughts, which is like the way you feel about a certain thing, or if something negative happens, do you just kind of put a mask over it and think that, okay, you know what, I got this, I'm going to get through it, but you're not actually processing what happened and sitting with those thoughts, good or bad, versus just, you just saying what it'll just go away by just
Yeah,
saying that you're got it, but you don't. Because if your thoughts and your feelings are negative internally, but you're just kind of putting it out into the universe that you'll get over it, you're not going to. What you're doing is just putting a mask over your pain and just kind of leaving it up to the air to fucking figure it out for yourself.
totally. And I think that people have this idea that they just need to be strong all the time, because if they're not being strong, then they're being weak and negative and all these other things. And I I've had some friends. I had a friend one time reach out to me and say that when my mom was diagnosed with her cancer battle, it I genuinely, like, I was really upset, and I was really like, it I took it hard. but I was in such go mode. I was in such adrenaline mode where I had to like help and get things done and like find support and all these things. And it came across as being really strong and positive. When in reality, like I was still suffering and I still feel that way. However, there's been so much spiritual work done that my foundation is positive. And because of that, I'm not afraid of the negative. So when the negative pops up, I can accept it and I can work through it because I know where I'm going to come back to. And I think that sometimes can be a real thing. Like a lot of us fear that if we start to think negatively a little bit, or we start to feel that like sad or angry a little bit, that we're just going to go down this like rabbit hole and not come out from it. When in reality, I think when we are experiencing something really negative, there's a lesson inside of that negativity that is going to try to bring you back to the positive if you let it. So I had a friend message me one time. They had a family member that was ill, and they said, I don't know how you did this and you were so positive and strong about it. And my response was, I wasn't always. It can easily be seen that way, but I don't think that people should believe that they have to be strong all the time and that they have to be thinking about bright and wonderful things when their family member or something that they have happen in life is really shitty.
Yeah.
It's called spiritual bypassing. That's the term. Spiritual bypassing is when we throw love and light and sprinkles and rainbows on everything and not actually deal with the stuff that comes our way.
Yeah. And I think there's like it's not I was going to say time and a place. There's a time and a place to like when you're going to be positive, because it's not just gonna come into your world. Like her just saying, you know, she, in a sense, she kind of masked that pain. Then even though she might have been struggling through her negative, she felt like she couldn't be negative. She had to stay positive. But in staying positive while you're still mentally having a lot of downtime in the negativity world, you have to work through it to get to that place of positive thoughts, because otherwise you're just literally putting a little mask over it. I'm going to keep saying mask. You're just shielding the pain by thinking that it's just going to go away, which is not. All you're going to do is actually enhance the problem, and then it's going to trickle down and make it 10 times worse because you didn't actually deal with it the right way, because you thought that sprinkling rainbows on it is just going to make it look shiny and perfect, and you're somehow are going to make it through.
And none of us are shiny and perfect all the time. Actually, most of the time, we're humans, we're messy individuals. The thing is, there's a lot of people that have negativity as their default. That is where problems are. That's where dissatisfaction lives, right? I think you have to really ask yourself, what is your foundation? Is your foundation positive or is your foundation negative? Because that's eventually where you're always going to end up, right? And just a couple of notes on like, what is positive? What are positive thoughts? And like, what is positive thinking? And basically it's your mental attitude, right? And it's your mental attitude that focuses on the good and expects results that will then benefit you, right? It's about anticipating your success and your happiness and your health, and not putting limitations on yourself. But you have to train yourself to adopt this mindset sometimes, right?
Yeah.
It's abundance mindset. I know people hear about abundance a lot now on social media or online, which is a wonderful thing to be hearing about. It's about thinking that there's so much for you to experience and there's so much to life. Sometimes depression or negativity can really take a hold of us when we are only seeing things from like this small, right? Abundance mindset is seeing things for, you know, as big as they can possibly get. And it can actually make or break you, I personally believe, because I think that your thoughts then affect your actions directly. And then your actions then turn into whether you succeed or not in your idea of success. And then it also changes your your relationships and those things too. And those can oftentimes be the things that make up what we feel is a valuable life. And
Yeah.
it all starts with your foundation and your thought process. It's powerful. That's why we
Yeah.
said power of positivity, because it just starts from your foundation and what your default thoughts are. And you have to do that work internally, right? Serena and I were talking about earlier, where positive thinking is just externally like throwing positive thoughts onto everything. But on the other end of it, when you really want to have longevity and happiness in your life, it's about the internal dialogue, right?
Yeah.
The self
And as humans, yeah,
love.
as humans too, I realize like we are habits of creature. So if our whole life we have always given into that negative thought process, like, oh, I'm so ugly, I'm not worthy, I don't deserve this, I'm not strong, I can't deal with life. Chances are those become your habits. So
Yeah.
those thoughts are gonna always be deeply instilled in you. But what we're trying to say is that it's okay to go through those as long as you learn from, okay, why are those coming up? We've shared it so many times for years. Both of us have gone through this unworthiness, feeling like we don't deserve what's happening, or we're not going places where we want to be. And instead of maybe focusing on that negative and just continuously telling ourselves, okay, we're not doing shit, we're not shit, we're not gonna be shit, we had to get to a place of like, okay, now that I'm not doing shit, what shit can I do?
Yeah. Yeah.
What do I need to do to actually sort it out? Because this negativity where it's actually tearing me down, I don't need that. That's the type of negativity you do not want, because all you're doing is creating the way your thought process, like you're creating a habit out of your thoughts to look into the negative before you look at, okay, now that that is there, let me focus on the positive of it.
Yep.
So for me, I'll give you an example. It's just feeling unworthy was like a thing for a long time, and to the world it was never present. I've talked to my cousin, she's like, god damn, like you were dancing around, you were doing this and this, and I'm like, yeah, internally I felt so little, I felt so ugly, I felt all the things that growing up you can feel. But until I got to a place of like, damn, I've been doing this now for 10 years to myself, what the fuck am I doing right if everything I'm doing is wrong? So you have to realize that negative thoughts or even positive thoughts depend on how you grow up and who you're surrounded by, who your environment is. And we always say this, your environment is huge to how your thought process will go. And I feel like, I'll give you another example, even and in a business, say someone is getting ahead of you and your first thought is like, oh my God, I ain't shit. But it's like, no, what are you doing to get to a place of wherever you think that person's reached? And chances are you're probably more feeding into the negativity of how you're not doing anything versus, oh, okay, well, you know what? I can actually do this. I know that I'm not doing it, but let me do it because that's what I need to do to get to that place. And that's the positive affirmation that you need to have with yourself and even people around you as well.
100, like I couldn't agree more. And you know what? Positive thoughts, being a positive person and having, good thoughts, there's so much research that's been done that shows that those people live longer, right? When you have to think about like the biochemistry and the way that people are made up. So your thoughts, right? Your brain, your mind, that's connected to the rest of your body. So when you're sending,
I'm lifting this hand because my brain is telling me it's okay to lift it. That's how powerful this shit is.
And we do it subconsciously, right? And it's the same thing with your thoughts. So if you're holding things in, you're not speaking your mind, you're thinking really negative things of other people, of your situation all the time, you're literally telling your body that you are negative. You are diseased, you're ill. And that is what's eventually going to manifest. And
I 100% agree with that.
it like your body literally sends those signals to the rest of your body. So if you don't think positively, why would your organs and your everything else function well?
I seriously, that hit home for me because we always say, we've said this before, but I have mentioned that for a few years, when I started like my makeup journey, I was so miserable because I had so many expectations from the world and not enough from myself. And I let I was so saturated with negativity, and it was trickling out. Like, I post quotes and stuff, and my quotes were like, one of my cousins reached out, she's like, hey, da da da. And even Harj has mentioned this to me too. And it really made me like, damn, this means I'm literally pouring negativity out into the world right now, not just in my head, not just for myself. I'm literally pouring it out into the world, thinking that it's fucking helping me, but all it's doing is just because it's just literally escaping the mind, and I'm going back to doing the same shit because I'm not working through the actual problem. And the problem was that I was expecting expecting too much from everybody else and then not enough from myself. And that's where my positive journey started.
Yeah, that's so powerful, because right then and there, that is proof that the law of attraction works.
Yeah.
Right? If
Yeah. Truly.
anyone that's like ever researched the law of attraction, the idea essentially is what thoughts you put out, what you believe is essentially what you attract. And I think that's what happens when people fester in their negativity and they fester in like bad thoughts. They end up attracting shitty situations, and then the cycle of negativity just repeats. Like, see, I'm not deserving of love. See, this is always going to happen to me. And hello, of course, because that's what you're asking for. And so when
Yeah.
Serena says that she like had to switch up her mindset, her business changed, her
Yeah.
creativity probably flowed so much more, and she's a much happier and expanded person because of it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. No, for sure.
It's crazy. And I guess in terms of so you guys might be wondering, like, okay, that's cool. I get positive thinking now, but what are some tips? I have some tips that can definitely work. Take what works for you, and the rest of it, make it your own. The first thing is taking control of your state of being. So, and Serena, you could probably like relate to this too. It's like your state of being is your physical self, right? So like if you're slouching or if you're like this, you are going to start feeling down automatically. But if you remember to like stay perky, or Serena was really good in inspiring me to go for walks a lot, and because it helped with her physical and mental state, right, to get into a much healthier place. And I remember she saying to me, like, I went for a walk this morning and it's 1:00 and I've got so much shit done. And
Yeah.
that is like the one thing that we have to always remember is like our physical body is attached to our emotional mindset. So
Yep.
remembering that, and then also adjusting your mindset, right? Being more positive, studying your habits and forming new ones. And also to choose your words carefully, because what you say matters.
Yeah. And also know that, don't think that you're not going to have negative thinking or negative thoughts. That's part of human nature. We are always, for whatever reason, going towards a negative before we bring it to the positive. But if you're aware of that, that's the best thing you can do for yourself.
Absolutely. And like your language to yourself is a really big deal, how you speak to yourself. That's why we say internally what your thoughts are, they become your words.
Yeah.
And that's something that is very essential. And it
Yeah.
can switch things up like that, right? And
100%.
that's what I believe is like the power of positive thinking.
Yeah. No, for sure. I definitely agree with that. And like I said, I was so negative. My household was, I could see like I have dogs. I could see them on the edge. I could see myself on the edge. I could see my partner on the edge because all I was doing was just putting negativity out and like not dealing with it, not realize like, why is that shit coming up? But I was just so stuck in my world and thinking that, no, I'm right in thinking negative. It's okay for me to think negative. It's like, not if that's all you do, because then you're literally turning yourself into a poisonous person and you're poisoning your mind, which I said is the fucking powerhouse to the rest of your body. And I, I kid, like hard to, it literally changed my life the moment I realized, you know what, I'm gonna work on this. And don't take this like I'm still working through it. I still my mind like we're humans. We're creatures of habit. So my first thing is always negative. But the fact that I am at a place where I literally check myself and I it's that's where my power is now, checking myself, because I can check myself and see, okay, how there's a negative impact of something, and how if there's negative thing happening, how there's a positive impact to that. And that's really truly where I'm at right now, and I'm continuously practicing that, and I see the world changing around me, and just within me I'm changing, because it's just going to happen. That's the power of positivity. Like we said, it can shift your life so quick as long as you start shifting your mind.
Dude, that's mic drop. Mic drop
Yeah.
moment right there. That's
Yeah.
what I got to say about positivity. That was huge.
Yeah. No,
That
for sure.
Wow, we hope
Just
you guys
know,
took
just
something
just
away.
know you're not alone, and just know that if you're paying attention to that one negative comment versus those 100 positive, think about why that's affecting you and do some work just on that and sort it out for yourself instead of giving into that one negative thing and letting that overpower your life.
Absolutely. That's the key right there. And we want to know what you guys are working on and how we
Yeah.
can support you. So drop a comment. Let us know. Share with us.
Yes. Make sure you guys check in every Wednesday. We post on YouTube and on IGTV. Make sure you guys follow us. Make sure you subscribe to our channel. Do the little bell button. Do all the things. And we truly appreciate you guys still sticking around. We're almost a year in, and this is just has become really amazing. And we're slowly building a community, and we just couldn't be more proud and happy with this. So thank you so much, guys.
Bye.
Bye. See you next week.
Yo. Oh.